model, but it doesn't work. Educations of the customers is way more that one too. Customers are really want to see something on the ground really working, and the customer want to buy on some solutions with such kind of like the high touch. So there was a lot of great discussions was there in that conference. So here in Vietnam, people loves that human touch. So that is, and more than 90% people of this country have an internet access. And the second important thing is, well, how this market is significantly different is this. Singapore.
After working like last 15 years in IT field, this is what I realized. What is IT? Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you.
So let's give a big hand to the student leaders to bring the training to you. Why don't you give a big hand to them?
That's a very fair point. John, may I invite you to speak upon what challenges do you see in terms of scaling the technology?
Well, I was listening to all the panelists. It has been an amazing discussions, and the regulations came in and the practicing whether those are absolutely amazing point. But in this part, I'm going to be a little bit bring the different perspective in the table, because I'm coming from a different place. I'm coming from a country which is per capita income $2,500 a year. It's way lower than Singapore, but from Singapore, when you look from far, you think about, oh, maybe they are really sitting in an old age, but actually not. More than 90% people of this country have an internet access. And the second important thing is, well, how this market is significantly different is this. Singapore is relying, talking about overseas passion, outbound passion to come in, but Vietnam, it's a local, 90 million people here in this country, and the geography is so big enough, from, let's say, from Ho Chi Minh City to Singapore, it takes 1 hour flight. From here to Hanoi, which is like another big city of the country, it takes them 1 hour too. It's that big. So the localized people there. And the third thing I want to tell about, there's a lot of great brand in Singapore. None of them was ever been successful in Vietnam. I mean, many of the reasons, which I can explain later. I mean, there's a few, Rayfield came in, probably just like 5 or 10 doctors they're having it. Before there was the SOS, another catastrophic failure. Basically, Rayfield who bought over the SOS and brought up the few clinics here, and it just probably a few of the capabilities I'm gonna mention about moving on in this talk about it. What to really think? I'm gonna be focusing about 5 things which is really be a challenge here. In this, even this is such a big market and big opportunity and big problem to solve. I'm not gonna just talk about business perspective, but I'm talking actually about how we can really solve this problem. So the first thing I'll talk about, telemedicine doesn't work in Vietnam yet. Unfortunately, most of the organization couldn't make it work. I mean, none of them can really make it work. Number one reason is this: trust. Patient doesn't trust them. Patient doesn't want to talk to a doctor over the internet. Patients are well educated. They like to do a lot of research about it. They don't want to meet a doctor. They want a human feel. So a year back in a Patient Experience Asia, I was speaking to Singapore a couple of days ago. So there was a big talk about this one. It's about high tech and high touch. Singapore becomes a lot more high touch and not about high tech and forget about the high touch. So there was a lot of great discussions was there in that conference. So here in Vietnam, people loves that human touch. So that is, and only that can be tackled if there is a big trust was being built. So there is a lot of things need to be done, which could be another, I can talk about it all day, but I just want to be efficient in this conversation. The first challenge is about patient doesn't trust online doctors. Number 2, capability, which was been few of the thing Alan and touch about this one, and also Miguel mentioned it too as well. Capability means the patients have the infrastructure to access that platform, but the doctors are not willing to provide the best experience, the soft skill, the doctor doesn't have it to communicate the right amount of patient experience over the internet. They are they're really good to do a face-to-face great patient experience, but when it comes to the online, they struggle. And I have been working with thousands of doctors. So like an example, in Hoan there was like almost 2,000 doctors. Before that, I have been interviewing almost 25,000 doctors, which I did in patient experience research in Vietnam ecosystem. So the one thing came in, doctor is one of the hardest smart creation of the world to change when it comes to change management, because they have been programmed to do exactly what it is. If you look at the doctors, who becomes a doctor, who exactly read the books, exactly write down the exams, exactly their past, and they come to the hospital, they do exactly the same thing. So it's like a exact thing they need to practice, and more exactly you do, you better and better doctor. So that's why the change management is always a challenge. So capability, the first thing is about doctor capability, and the second thing is about the tech system provider capability as well too. The tech companies who are trying to build some system and solution, I've been reviewing with them. It's all their solution is about, okay, I'm going to sit down in Singapore, I'll sit down in US, and I'm going to deploy the solution in Vietnam with a very cost-effective lean model, but it doesn't work. Educations of the customers is way more that one too. Customers are really want to see something on the ground really working, and the customer want to buy on some solutions with such kind of like this, which already existing and already give them value. Business later, value first. That's where the company lost the whole market so far. Number three is willing to take actions. Many of the company even know, because even myself went to like hundreds of conferences. Like I've been speaking 200 conferences in the last 3 years of time in whole Southeast Asia. They know that there's a problem sitting down, that the top executives of those tech companies do not really take actions to make the strategy to realistic. They're always thinking about return of investment or value first, and they always think about return on investment first, and that's why it was a losing game. So willing to take actions and willing to give value first, that was the biggest challenge for the tech companies. Number four, there was no initiatives about partnerships with the government. Everybody was just thinking about, I'm just coming in and I'm going to wow the market. It's even 100 million people, I will gain them over. It doesn't work that way too. So Hoan today is one of the biggest giant in this, with 4 million patients care. It comes with a partnership opportunity. It could work with the government hospitals. It work with the private hospital. It buy the private hospital, remodel that one too, and deploy the new model on top of it, and do grow very fast the margin acquisition, but also do a lot of partnership development. There's no other Hoan here. If the second one, if you looked at on private chain, the second one is from a local investor, which like 1/4 of their patients with like 6 hospital or 7 hospital. So willing to take option partnerships and really true investment was missing. So that didn't really happen. Number 5 is about build up the regulations. So there is not, this telemedicine thing is not been properly been regulated in the government yet. So few, quite funny. It's last year we had a pretty good scandal. Is even Zoom with a Chinese investor, the CEO of the Zoom almost got fired, but we are still using this platform right now in this conference. Everybody give the information. So people know all this information. They will not be willing to, everybody is willing to join a controversial platform. So there is no universal platform was been built in Vietnam for everyone to give, which it can bring the trust, which can bring the brand, and which can bring the real value, not just on money. And it's not just a promise, hey, we're not going to use the data for other cases, but really doing it is a different story. I can say that one, oh, I'm not going to use your data. It's fine. It has no value. Nobody trusts that thing. You got to have it properly right regulated. You have to be right communicated, and you have to put it on again and again to millions of people. Then the trust will grow, and they really will be willing to value, right? Which platform will be used? Not been regulated. How the data will be used through. Currently, right now, we are sitting down 100 people. Zoom, no, everyone offering contacts right now. So what would Zoom is going to do with this context? We don't know. We can use the Google, but the same problem. Google will get all the context as well, and Google know that what we are talking about in the whole conference. So it comes to the security as well too. Then the patients are not willing to talk all those private disease issues. Think about a prime minister of Singapore, or talking about a health issue over the online to the doctor, and then the whole thing has been recorded and been gone to somewhere else. How it will be? It will be the same 4 or 5 years ago where we was in Singapore, where Sing Health was almost getting a punch in the face for opening everything to everyone. So these are regulation is not been done. So those are the like lesson learned for this one. So people are a lot more, government is more skeptical in Vietnam to go to that one. Customer is not willing to join into as well too. So what it needs is the whole thing need to be properly regulated by regulation, how this platform data and thing privacy will be maintained and the brand will be maintained, then it will be successful, and which needs good amount of investment, and no one is doing it yet.
Thanks, John. There's really quite a lot of points, and for the record, I would like to say that I'm a